broadcast, but we'll work on it. We will be the best.
And
Picks
that
and
too.
bans. That's right. Naturally, of course. Someday we'll be the best. Picks and bans for game number 2, Samsung versus Jin Air. Quinn Lulu, the first bans on the Samsung side, and Fiora Callista over for Jin Air.
Fiora banned once again by Jin Air, and the Alistair first pick may be coming in, considering that Samsung has not banned that. They changed up the Alistair ban for a Lulu one in game number 2. And Poppy still on the board. Cuvée, of course, a dangerous Poppy player, and it was banned by Jin Air in the last match. But now they have to decide, Poppy or Rise, what are you going to give up? Cuvé's actually very good at both those champions.
Star.
Yeah, they're going to take, that is such a Cuvée special right there, the Rise.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of his best champions, has been for the last year, even before the Rise rework and everything changed.
Before the Fire Nation attacked.
That's right.
Yep. Things changed. And Corky, who fell all the way through the draft in game number 1, might make an appearance much earlier on here in game 2.
Yeah, that may prompt another Braum. Oh man, they're going to take the Corky Graves. Now this is exactly why I think the Braum was taken by Jin Air in the first game of the series, was to deal with the possible threat of a Corky Graves combination, but they are just going to grab it.
Well, I mean, Samsung has a chance to grab that Braum now.
Yeah, I think you can take the Rek'Sai. You don't have a lot of engage, though, if you take Braum. That's the problem that they're going to have to try and figure out. If you want the engage. This is an interesting gamble from Jin Air, because Samsung probably wants to take Victor here, but they're not going to be able to get it. And, of course, Jin Air can just have Pilot play Corky and then take Victor. It would be a lot of magic damage hope, but they have the Graves to back it up, and they can take a tanky top laner at that point. But they need, Samsung really just needs engage here, because they're selecting a very kiteable composition. That'll do something, at the very least, if they lock in the Thresh when it comes to creating picks, but it's not a very reliable form of engage for a team fight.
Yeah, and the Thresh will get locked in. So 2 picks over to Jin Air. We'll see if they take the Braum now.
I think Braum Victor right here.
Yep.
And
Ezreal Victor.
Yep. There's always that threat that the Graves going top lane. You just don't know with Jin Air. I don't think they're going to blind pick the Gnar. That was, Trace really performed poorly on Gnar the last time that he played that champion. He played it into the Maokai matchup too, so traditionally a matchup that Gnar wins with a range advantage.
Thinking about it, it seems like they're pretty unsure about what they want to do, honestly. The Bard would be pretty interesting.
Great for kiting. They're just trying to kite this composition out. They're trying to draw a comp out of Samsung that won't be able to actually threaten their backline with poke. So essentially Samsung is going to have to maybe, if they take the Victor here, they don't have engage. If they take the Twisted Fate again, there's that possibility the Corky just goes mid. This is a weird draft from Jin Air, but it's actually working in their advantage because they're trying to just eliminate all forms of engage from Samsung now that they've committed to this Rise, or put Rise in the hands of Crown, who is just not going to be as good on it. And there's the Victor. If they lock in Rek'Sai, they are so kiteable. Okay, and that's what they are going to do. So as long, oh man, this is a great draft for Jin Air. I don't know. I don't know how Samsung starts this fight at all. Like,
teleport Victor flank.
Yep. Maybe teleport Rise flank. Ambition flashing. Without flash on Ambition, though, they don't have a lot of options. And Jin Air, look at how much disengage they have. Kuzan playing that Lissandra in the mid lane can just ult himself. Tempered Fate, Winged, and Pilot are just going to run rampant on these 2 AD carries. Very, very good kiting composition from Jin Air. And Samsung made no adaptations. They try and take the threats away. But Jin Air's draft put them in a real quandary. Okay, you take TF, well, Pilot takes Corky, and then they take Victor in the mid lane. It's not great. If you're Samsung, Kuzan gets perhaps his best champion again, even though he's a very good Lissandra player too.
Well, I mean, just looks like Samsung can Jin Air down a game right now. to Samsung here in our first best of 3 of the night. On our last day of Champion Spring this week, we should note that there are no matches tomorrow because of the Lunar New Year that's being celebrated much of Asia.
That's right. And there will not be matches for an entire week until next Friday.
Yeah, that's right. So pretty much 1 week from now, we'll be back.
Well, I won't be. I'll be gone.
You won't be, but Papa Smithy and I will be back. I know. You and I will be around for a little bit longer tonight. Well, maybe a lot bit longer tonight. We might be here into tomorrow. It's possible.
How these matches are panning out, at least the early indication of Game 1. And this one, which Samsung certainly has great wave clear in the mid lane, and they could just try and get an overwhelming gold lead. But this goes late, and I don't know how Samsung is going to win team fights. They got baited into the Rise, and it's so transparent that on Samsung, Cuvée is going to be the Rise player that they didn't even flex it, threaten to flex it into the mid lane, try something for a bit more hard engage, even take the Lissandra for Cuvée in the top side and have Crown play on that Rise. But then Kuzan would have taken Victor, and I just really think this is a very well calculated draft from Jin Air, and they have now denied most forms of that engage. Wraith also, chance to play Trundle. At least you'd have the Trundle pillar for engage. Didn't take that either. So
yeah, we haven't seen much of our priority for Trundle in Game 1 either, which is kind of weird. I mean, to me anyway, and to a lot of teams, it seems like in Korea and around the world, Trundle seems like one of the top, if not the top-est supports.
Oh, he stole it!
Did he get that? Shay actually got the blue buff with the Cosmic Binding. Wow.
Walks up and styles on Ambition. It doesn't really matter on Rek'Sai. You know, that is not going to affect much, but getting that experience is super annoying.
Yeah.
It's only about half the experience of that camp now on the blue buff, but still.
It's still really good, though.
Of course.
Yeah, that's a lot of poke wherever you go, too. Wraith pulls in Kuzan. There's Soufflé. Kuzan may have to walk around. He's walking, yes. He's slowly sliding away. Oh, there's the E. Okay.
Tried to interrupt the E, but didn't actually predict it properly right there. And Che, the stylish blue buff, some nice blue runes revolving around his feet.
Yeah.
That's where you keep your runes.
Fits with the outfit. You keep your runes floating around your
floating
torso.
Around your feet.
Or your feet. They're a little bit above your feet, though.
I don't know. They look like they're pretty much at like shin height.
That's not your feet, is it? Are your shins your feet? Do you walk on your shins? That sounds painful, Monte Cristo.
They're still rotating around your feet.
I guess.
That's still a correct statement.
Well, they're rotating around every part of your body. Then.
They are.
Yeah, well, there you go. Check and made.
I'm still right. And as Futurama taught me, Noah, I am technically correct, the best kind of correct.
You've been watching some political debates, haven't you? Seen a lot of that lately.
Maybe I should run for president.
Maybe you should. It's not too long now.
I'll run on a platform of banning Ragers. League of Legends.
And I'll run on a rocket-propelled floating platform because that'll just make me intimidating. People will vote for me then.
How are you going to stay on top of that thing?
Because it's like the Iron Man thing. The rockets won't like make me fly off. I can just surf on it, kind of, you know.
I see.
How cool would that be? How could you not like to do that? Surfing around on like a rocket platform. That's the best platform to run on.
Well, by that logic, Michael J. Fox should probably run for president.
It's true. Well, that was a hoverboard, not a rocket board. Come on. Here in politics, we strive for total honesty. You need to get that in your head.
That was a weekend to that, Toa.
I know.
You got to work on the endings to your rhetoric.
It's been a long week, man. What can I say? I've learned that as long as I speak loudly and like you make like karate chop motions with my hands a lot, it makes me a politician.
I think we all learned that from the debates this election.
Yep.
There's one thing I learned about politics, it's that.
You have to fight invisible ninjas while you're making your political, rhetorical points. People are keeping score. How many ninjas have you defeated during your point?
They actually just count the bodies at the end of the debate on the floor.
Piled up around the platform. Yeah. Keith Overman's got a couple around his chair, too, because he just can't stay out of it. Kube's going to take the Raptors here, I guess. What are you doing outside of the top lane, Kube? Uh-oh. Careful, Kube. Oh,
Has no mana.
He's after you.
He's been defeated.
Yep.
Oh, big raptor.
That's kind of embarrassing for a sorcerer of Rise's prestige and power.
Well, what's weird here actually is they have their jungler down. I don't know what they're doing because Winged, of course, on Graves is good at pushing down these turrets, but they have him down on the bottom side of the map instead of, actually trying to jungle right now. So it's a little bit odd. And Rise also not joining up with the turret, so he's not going to get any kind of gold or experience. This has been a really bizarre lane swap thanks to that blue buff steal by Che right at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, ending up making a bit bigger of an impact than it looked like initially.
Probably Samsung was trying to give that blue buff over to Cuvée because Rek'Sai doesn't need it, and then try and give him an advantage. But in the end, he's going to get some farm, walks all the way back up to that top side, and Pilot will get the gold on the opposite side of the map. But guess what? Trace is already here. He has a level advantage. Just one, though, even though Cuvée has a few more minions to his name right now. And the push is going to come back towards Cuvée, so he's in an okay place. Trace has the early Merc treads here to avoid any multiple snares, but Cuvé's going to have to fall way back on this one.
Yep. And although you always expect the Rise to take a while to power up, usually you don't want it to be delayed that much. But then again, in this series, he's probably got all the time he really could desire.
This is a weird lane assignment, too, because they're actually putting Corki and Bard into this top side, but Cuvée has enough wards. And
Crown with the attempted all-in on to Kuzan.
That's a flash.
Yep.
Ambition here with the solo dragon take now that Stitch and Wraith have pushed the wave up where they're towards the tier 2, and Cuvée just has to play the waiting game right now.
Yeah.
Nar's going to go catch the wave in the bottom side.
They're just going to take that blue buff again.
Sure, why not? I mean, we'll see the blue buff on the Jin Air side of the map go over to Samsung most likely.
Yeah, I mean, they can rotate up after they take the dragon, but Ambition's a little bit too low maybe to do that.
Nah, they got position there, it's fine.
He's recalling.
Well, he shouldn't do that. He should take the blue buff. They're concerned about this tier 2 going down, though. They've committed Wing to it. Wing's just been in lane this whole game trying to help out with the pressure. And
man,
that's what you could do with Graves in the jungle. He has a lot of versatility when it comes to killing turrets, and they're just going to straight up lose it.
Wow, they're just going to get it. Jin Air not wasting any time taking that tier 2.
Well, they're abusing the lack of wave clear. Now they go after the blue buff, so they actually do get it onto Lucian. Ideal target. Cuvée there gets a little bit of shield so he can walk up on this minion wave and actually CS it. So it's been a weird lane swap so far.
Yeah.
And with Jin Air holding this early game advantage, getting that faster turret, they're just accelerating the pace at which they can scale into the late game and start to group up around the Baron, which is really their primary method of winning this game. Pilot actually used a Valk.
You know, essentially the map has been divided kind of the opposite way that it normally is. Top and bottom instead of left and right.
So Cuvé's going to get some time just to slowly push this out and stack up his tier, but Rise stacking only matters if you can actually get damage on the enemy, and that just looks so incredibly unlikely with the way Jin Air has drafted this game. Because any situation where Samsung tries to engage, Jin Air has an answer. They have an R ultimate, they have a Sandra ultimate, they have a Bard ultimate. Any of these things can stuff the engage from Samsung. And if Samsung just tries to run at them, well, unless they magically land a Thresh Hook and like chain that into a Rune Prison, there's almost, or have a Flash Unburrow, they're not in a good place to actually engage. So they have to basically scale off Dragon or force Jin Air to engage them at a Baron. It's about all they've got, unless they go for an ultra late game Rise split push.
Look at how deep Jin Air is going now on the other side of the map. They want to take that other tier 2 as fast as they can as well.
Just trying to push this game and just keep Rise there, because they know that Rise is going to come and try and collect this wave because they want to scale with Rise. But Rise just doesn't have the wave clear. He is 6 now, so he's got some. Also going to protect Trace here as he starts to really run away with that CS advantage. So they're playing around this Rise pretty well, but now Cuvé's 6, so he'll clear that out. pretty darn fast.
Guess so.
Stitch, on the other hand, has been helped out by their emphasis on pushing with Gnar and giving Gnar the majority of the farm. And with that wave, considering they didn't dive it, Cube pulls back neck and neck with Trace, but a little bit of a deficit here for Pilot. So Samsung, they've just got to keep rolling with these dragons. They got the first one very early, and they have a chance to seriously snowball and try and get 5th drag by like 30 minutes.
Going to Ambition fighting over the Raptors at the moment. Who's going to get it? The Raptor confused. Looks like he's just going to reset. Nobody gets the Raptor.
Nobody wants to use the Smite.
Yep.
With that last bit of damage down.
Raptor had a chance to escape, but he couldn't. Oh, and they catch Kube. Oh, Mega Gnar was a little bit late. If you would have had that, Mega Gnar, maybe they could have thrown Rise back and gotten the kill.
Really dangerous, though. They saw Graves walking down and still didn't actually let Cube know. He was trying to farm out, get a little bit greedy there, farm out the Krugs. Now without the flash, he can't really play as aggressively as he could on Gnar. Finally getting some defensive wards down in that side of the map to prevent Gnar from split pushing, and Stitch comes out to push it up. Really emphasizing the farm onto Stitch right now, as the freeze from Corki. Pilot has been keeping this up for quite some time.
Well, Stitch was our first player this season to get the pentakill. He's certainly got the ability to hard carry on some of these ADCs, like Lucian. So it makes sense to put him in front as far as the amount of resources they're funneling over to him. But Jin Air still seems to kind of be able to do whatever they want in the Samsung jungle at the moment.
They're trying to deny this wave as best they can. So much of League of Legends in this 2016 season is about farming and how much of an advantage you can get. So these little edges end up meaning quite a lot when it comes to these team fights and when you get out of the lane swap scenario, but not going to be too effective. They do get most of it when all is said and done. Jin Air once again going after that blue buff.
Whoa, that was fast. First blood goes over to Crown. No chance to even say anything there as Che just gets caught and blown up.
Wow, well, Che is playing Bard. He's very squishy, and Crown has rushed his Hex score upgrade. So he's just been putting a ton of points into that. So his full combo now is entirely enabled. Crown has not gotten any form of magic or regen or anything like that. Very unusual build. So I just don't think you expect that level of burst out of Victor. But when you put all your cash into the Hex score upgrade, it doesn't allow you for as reliable wave clear as picking up some other items or defensive stats that you might need against Lissandra all in. But since he has the cleanse, I guess he was just really confident that he'd be able to get out of any situation, and he just goes straight for the red upgrade and then just wrecks him.
Yeah, I wish you could see that again in slow motion.
Bard 2, really squishy, and he didn't have a Sightstone at that time. I don't believe it was just the Frost Fang and the Boots of Mobility, so good read there by Crown. He didn't even have to flash for it, just straight up walked into the blue buff and destroyed him. Dragon back up now.
Yep, and it looks like it's been... Oh, no, I thought Graves was doing it, but he was just killing the Rift Scuttler. Look at the minimap.
Getting his crab.
Yep, grabbing the crab. But we'll see if Jin Air wants to try to take this first one. I think it'd be a good idea, to say the least.
And there's still a scaling rise here, Tyr and Rod of Ages components. And so Samsung is not in the strongest position to fight this, but if they can get it, they are going to be feeling much better about their composition.
Yeah.
But that's why we see Jin Air making a really strong play. Sandra's back right now. Kuzan not able to push back the wave, and it does make it a little bit riskier for Jin Air to take this. Will turn on it eventually. They have a ton of wards in the river, but still eyes directly on the dragon itself for Samsung.
All right, well, Jin Air's going to start it here. Some members of Samsung coming down. We'll see if they can steal it away.
Trace is not in the best Mega Gnar form right now. Kuzan on the flank.
Nope. Dragon at about a third health. Here they come. Some poke being fired in. And Jin Air backs away. They look afraid. They want to try to take that Dragon. Goes down, in fact. And Jin Air able to grab that one.
Bishop didn't have a chance to get his smite off.
Yep.
Tried to burst it with Victor. Didn't exactly work. So Wing takes it. It's a nice first Dragon. No commitment from Cuvée. Trace had hit Mega Gnar by the time that the Dragon was very low. So Jin Air had the patience. And Trace played around his Gnar bar well, which is what he didn't do the last game he played Gnar.
Well, if you can't do that, yeah, you probably shouldn't be playing that.
Well, that's what it looked like after we saw. Smithy and I saw the last Gnar that Trace brought forward. But this time they look much more coordinated around the Mega Gnar form, at least for that little engagement, and that nets them their first Dragon of the game.
Yep. Cuvée knows he was seen by that ward. Wants to take it. Wing wants that Rift Sculler. Looks like he'll be able to grab it unless Ambition... Well, Ambition doesn't have Smite up. Neither does Winged, though. All right. Smiteless War. There we go. Wing gets it. I'd expect the Graves to win that one.
Zone's about there. Not too bad. 5 ping ports. Look at the way that Samsung has divided the vision on this map right now, just straight across. It shows that... Oh, wow.
Wow, we got Wing to the Rune Prison. Wing forced the flash away. And now it's Rift Herald time. Oh, yeah. That's an objective that very few would ever contest. So Samsung just gets it.
Right onto Ambition.
Yep. You saw Wing be like, do I want it? No, it's just the Rift Herald.
Well, the ping boards here are doing a lot of work, and this tells us what Samsung's game plan is going to be.
Whoa, flash ult onto Cuvée. Here comes a Magical Journey. Nice pick onto Cuvée. Great use of that Magical Journey to bring people in after the Trace ult.
Those
That's how
wards
you do it.
Were not in the place where he could have been that far forward, and a great punish by Trace there on the flash that Cuvée burned not to kill Winged earlier.
Yeah.
So they had the pink wards, but they were mostly in their own jungle for Samsung. And that means they're trying to turtle and farm up into the late game. But if you do that, you have to be super cautious about how you're playing the top side of the map. So Cuvée takes a death right here and does have a chance to go back and buy his Rod of Ages.
That's pretty nice to be able to grab that. Ambition gets poked as he flees. It's like, if only Mad Life was here to save me.
Well, Wraith was there, just taunting him. The possibility of a lantern.
It was never delivered. Jin Air making some effort to take back some of that bottom jungle over on Samsung's side.
Yeah, pink wards all pretty meticulously eliminated here by Jin Air and Cuvée. Somebody's got to break this freeze in the top side. It's becoming problematic, but they just don't have the vision, and you can see Winged and Kuzan just in the black of the Jin Air jungle right now, and that's what happens.
Go. Yeah, and there's the W. Cuvée locked up again, followed by the ult from Kuzan. And that was another nice pick onto that rise.
No wards.
Yep.
Don't know where 2 burst mages are. Maybe shouldn't be walking up there in that side of the river.
Maybe. Oh, Pilot got the blue buff. Nice.
Jin Air is just taking buffs, blue buffs left and right.
Kidding. No blue buffs at all for Samsung.
Cuvée really struggling, just in terms of his positioning on the map, and that's a nice job by Jin Air just to punish it.
I would say so. Well, Samsung will be able to finally get a blue buff, it looks like.
Well, they're on blue buff. They've taken away the enemy that we've been trading blue buffs for a lot of this game.
They're happy for any blue buff now.
Well, especially Victor, who
yeah,
not been getting them.
Yeah, not been getting a lot of mana regen either, so.
Yeah, that's...
You could use it.
It's going to be pretty crucial. But...
Cuvé's like, nope, nothing to farm here.
He still get a nice big wave when it finally comes back his direction.
Yeah.
Well, we're nearly to the next dragon. We've made it
close. Yep.
We did it together.
That's right, this will be our 3rd one this game. Seen a lot of them today.
Right.
He's just savoring the moment. He's like, oh boy, here it comes.
Maximizing his freeze.
Yeah.
Like any good top laner these days.
Oh yeah.
Just denying as many CS as you can.
Flame's getting ready for his match backstage. He's like, yep, this is how you play Rise. I approve.
But he's still, I wonder how many stacks he has on that tier. He's probably got another few minutes before that turns into a series.
Uh-oh. Fight the bot lane. Tempered Fate doesn't catch Stitch. Nice attempt, though. He tried to catch him in the Lantern.
Yeah, Wraith actually flashed with his Lantern to avoid the Tempered Fate from landing. So nice heads-up play there from Wraith, but it cost the bottom lane both of their flashes. Kuzan burned his TP for that, though. That attempts.
Yeah, getting those flashes before a dragon comes up is pretty nice if you're going to think about contesting that at all.
I don't know what Samsung's plan is. Yes, they can continue to turtle and scale, but they still don't have an answer for the disengage of Janair, or that they just don't have engage, and Janair is too much peel. So unless Winged or Pilot get super caught out in a team fight, it's probably just a slow bleed here from Samsung. Any battle that they try and fight, unless they can pick up a kill up front, is not going to be wildly successful like that.
Yep. That was close anyway. Dragon time. Rift Scuttler time.
Wave clear time.
Yep. Lissandra yelling time.
It's always time for Lissandra to yell.
Oh, tower killing time? Nope, wave clear time. Now Janair will take their second dragon. Unless Ambition can come in to steal it. He's going to try. Nope. Tried to walk up and smite. Couldn't get it off in time. And Winged claims that one.
Don't even trade anything right there. Gnar just going to get another CS lead. Way back in his own turret. Just no punishment whatsoever from Samsung.
Yeah, pretty much.
They just really don't feel ready to commit to anything yet. Still waiting for that rise. But they can wait for this rise for a long, long time, and I still don't think he's going to do anything, Doa.
Well, they're going to wait for a long, long time, so we'll get our chance to see.
Cube has to have an amazing teleport to make this work. And once he has that amazing teleport, he has to survive long enough and not just get ulted by this Lissandra and blown up.
Yeah.
Like
oh, TP coming in. He can go after Kuve again, and now he is running the wrong direction. Used his ult already just to try to get a bit more distance in.
Gnar's here.
Kuzan trying to chase. They dodge. Wraith there to try to save him. He's going to try to throw the Lantern into the Dragon Pit. Can he stop it? No, not quite. Wraith, the hero.
The great Rise race.
Yep. Rise Chase 2016. The great Rise Chase. Doesn't sound very dramatic, does it? You couldn't really have Richard Attenborough do that one, huh?
Nope. Well, they got a flash in the end. They traded a flash for a TP, so nothing happened.
Okay. That just sends Trace into a rage.
He shouldn't be in a rage. He's doing fine. Got his Sterix Gauge and his Hex Drinker. Got tons of...
Oh, flash ult. Kuve thrown against the wall. There's the Lantern again. Can they stop him? Lissandra says yes, but a nice hook by Wraith. Oh, not quite nice enough to keep Kuve alive.
Great job by Kuzan. He positioned himself so even if that Lantern was taken, he could just W and finish up the kill at the end.
I know how Wraith feels. You do everything you can to keep that guy alive, and he still manages to die. And you're like, this is my life as a support player. This is just how it is. Couldn't do anything more. I think Wraith went above and beyond there. It's like I just saved you 30 seconds ago, but, you know, I've got limits, man.
Second time this game, though, that Trace has used the lack of flash on Cube to punish him and pick up a kill. So they're playing very well around the summoner timers.
Yep. Wow, Stitch able to get a bit of damage done on, or taking a bit of damage rather, on his own turret.
Yep. Clears it out, but he hasn't gotten enough of an edge. There hasn't been really a fight this game. Janair happy to avoid those for as long as they can. The Baron now becoming a realistic objective for Janair, and the warding just hasn't been there. Nobody has been able to get any real deep wards in on behalf of Samsung. Brown actually grabs that.
Yep.
Nice. job there, so doesn't have to give up his blue buff, and they maintain the wave clear in mid.
I feel the same way, Lissandra.
These there were a lot of kills in the last game, though. We had like 32 kills in that game.
Yeah, it was 32 kills out of like an hour-long game.
That was still a kill every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
This is a kill every 6 minutes.
I know. But they've been good. Like the ganks on Cuvée have been entertaining.
Yeah, they've been solidly played too. Jenner just being methodical.
Well orchestrated.
More time for scuttle crabbing it.
Yep.
He has to be a little bit cautious here. He has to lock it now, at least for some survivability on the burst, but the Void Staff is done.
Whoa, Kuzan taking a big amount of poke, and that's going to push him off of the turret, maybe long enough for Samsung to grab this one.
Very nice. Crown
looks
does
like they will.
so much damage with this build. That was through an Abyssal Scepter, too.
That works.
Drop
Don't need
the
to
ult,
get the...
take the objective.
Yeah. Don't need the kill if you get the tower. It's nice if you can get both, but as long as you get one. Oh, Trace finds Wraith, though. Ambition is there, so I think he should be okay. Yeah, there's a knock-up. Cuvée was there as well. Trace needs to be careful here. Maybe not too careful. Never mind. Apparently he doesn't need to be careful. 1v3 is perfectly fine.
Everybody's just so afraid of Trace at this stage.
Oh, hi, thank you. Thank you for the ancient Krug, Ambition.
Well, he did have backup, and we are going to see a TP to the mid lane as the counter push coming through.
Yeah, they'll get the mid tier 1 in exchange. Oh, meanwhile, top lane battles. Che comes in. Cuvée dodges the ult well, gets thrown, but not against the wall. No stun there. Wing could be in trouble. Culling activated. They get Cuvée again. And that is basically just the story of this game. It's Cuvée lying dead wherever he goes. 0-4-0.
Well, that's how you control a Rise, Doa.
Yep.
Just keep on killing him and play, just force his flash early, kill him several times during that flash cooldown timer. Trace is absolutely dominating him. Malmortia is now done for Wing. We're going to see that eventually for Trace too. In case the burst comes through from Victor, we have 2 Sterix gauges. From Wing to Trace, they are in a very good position.
Oh yeah.
Let's keep on taking the dragon. Let's go dragon once again.
Another one's going to be coming up sometime. Jenner wants it. They're like, we saw Samsung do this last game.
Everybody needs to get the 5 drags.
Yep.
That's how this stands. Actually, they force chase flash on the face check, and they have the vision. This could be number 2 here for Samsung. Cuvée already making his way down, but they don't have control over bottom lane whatsoever. But there's enough of a minion wave it will slowly push back. Looks like they want to engage Kuzan there, looking for a possible teleport flank.
Jenner starts the dragon.
Wow, they really want to fight this. Trace is running out of Mega Gnar, though, so they just have to commit to this dragon.
Yeah, we'll see if the TP comes in. Dragon taken by Jenner. They're going to turn on Tempered Fate onto Ambition. Maybe they can grab him. The Lantern pulls him to safety, but Kuzan over the wall. What a great self-out to lock those guys up. There's a Zonia. That gives Jenner a chance to catch up. Nice hook onto Che. He takes a lot of culling damage. That's going to be enough for Stitch to pick up a kill in that fight. Ended up going okay for Samsung. They lost the dragon, but they got a kill, but they're really low. They may still be in trouble here. Here comes Trace. Whoa! But Crown does a ton of damage on that Victor.
Wow, Jenner got so greedy after that dragon. All they had to do was take the dragon. They don't want to engage. They want to kite. Samsung, if you walk into them, that's exactly what they want. You get in range of all their crowd control. You can't do that. Like, it looks so good and it looks so tempting when you're pushing them into your side of the map like that, but playing into that amount of damage is just not a good idea. And they tried to time that, but Ambition gets the Lantern out. It's a good ult right there for sure from Kuzan, and he's able to deny them and deal a lot of damage. But at this point, you've already run one Jenner. You don't have to pursue that whatsoever. You got the objective you came to get. And there's no sense in overcommitting, especially like this. I mean, Trace's Narbar nowhere near complete, and easily hooked there by Wraith. So Samsung, they just get exactly the fight they want. Jin Air gives it to them. They're still down in Dragons, they're still down in Gold, but at least they got something out of that. And if Samsung wants to win this game, they have to move the wards into the enemy jungle, and they have to start threatening a Baron. They must do that. They need control over the top side.
Well, they are moving some of the wards a little bit farther forward.
We're starting to get some pink wards down. Cuvée is still sitting on that tier. He built QSS and Void Staff. It's a very weird build. So he doesn't have that protection of the shield from the Seraph's Embrace yet, and he's not going to have it too quickly either.
Well, Void Staff seems kind of like a panic thing. You know, I'm not doing enough damage. I better at least get some spell pen.
I guess. But he's just not going to have the survivability. If he's ever turned on, he's going to blow up. And of course, he wants the QSS. He needs it against the Gnar and the Lissandra. But buying it this early just cuts into his power in the mid game. And even at 30 minutes, we're not seeing that. That tier is definitely fully stacked. Could be transformed into that Seraph's Embrace at any moment.
As soon as he goes back. Actually buys it.
He just doesn't have the money.
Wow, Crown. Slipping so much.
Well, the nice thing is they have got some.
Oh, Tempered Fate on the Crown. He could get caught. There's a Lantern again. Can he take it? Meanwhile, Stitch just gets blown up. Nice ult by Trace. And that should be a clean fight for Jin Air. Yeah. Trace chasing, gets a slow on the Crown. Here comes Wink from the side, trying to blow up that Victor. Victor getting low, nice death ray, going from behind, doing some damage. They finally take him out. Trace gets a kill there. That's 3 for 0 in favor of Jin Air. They may just go right for this Baron after the recall.
Kuzan's low, but he has the TP. Nice denial there. The Prey Seeker going to allow Kuzan to actually recall because Trace body blocked it. So Trace comes up, gets another big ultimate, and they create the pick that will allow them to attempt this Baron. There's no TPs up. Of course, Crown doesn't have one this game, so it's all on Ambition and Cuvée. Cuvée is just not tanky enough to deal with this. He's just going to die.
Well, he's going to try. Baron obviously doing that damage. Cuvée comes in, a lot of damage onto Wink, gets grabbed, gets locked up by Lissandra, and another easy kill for Jin Air, and right back onto the Baron. I feel like I heard somebody say that was going to happen right before it happened.
You had to try, right?
Yeah, you do have to try. But you know what's going to happen.
Stitch just gets caught out. Nice flash there from Kuzan, who's really shown up in this series for Jin Air. He's been their outstanding player. Trace shoves Crown and Wraith right into the wall. The ult gets dropped by Crown, but easily zoned out, so they don't actually pick up any kill onto Kuzan or anything in return. And you may wonder why Cuvé's not engaging this. He will just die. He is not tanky enough yet. He doesn't have the Seraph's Embrace. He's able to avoid some of the crowd control, but that's about it. It's a very glass cannon build, and I really like the way Jin Air did this. Basically, this is a huge out-drafting from Jin Air, and they played Samsung like a fiddle. They knew that that Rise was going to go over because Cuvée loves that champion, and then it made it awkward because they couldn't flex the Rise into a better composition to deal with what Jin Air had, and the amount of peel that they have, just nothing Samsung can do. Just never going to get damage down.
Pretty much. Now the Baron push begins. And we'll see how aggressive Jin Air wants to be with this.
Yeah, couple that with the fact that Trace is just...
Oh, fight the jungle here. Crown caught out. Another kill comes in for Jin Air. And that's just going to lead to easier turrets, maybe even an inhibitor now. Without Crown, you don't have a lot stopping you. Oh, Trace and Cuvée, the duel. And Trace takes it. Cuvée just so far behind this game.
Well, the hyper proc right there. You have to remember that there is a Hex Drinker and a Sterix, so those auto attacks are actually doing a lot of damage there from Trace. And when he gets that third hit on his mini auto attack, it gives you an extra little bit of oomph.
This could be the game. It's still 30 seconds almost until Crown comes back. They've got those Baron minions pushing into the base already.
Definitely should be the game.
Yeah. Oh, we've seen strange things. There's a Tempered Face. Tempered Fate. And I think they want to close it out. Maybe. No. The engage happening. It's a 3v5. Ambition deep. And he's going to get taken out. There we go. The Nexus goes down, so Jin Air able to close the second one out fast. And this series is all tied up. GG.
Yeah, much better closure from Jin Air once they got the advantage that game. Really liked their draft against what Samsung had to offer. They put themselves in a really good position to win, and then they played it out very well. They punished Cuvée for picking the Rise. Trace continually worked to kill him. Oh, Crown actually tried for that all-in at the end, as we're seeing right now. He had a ward there, and he was like making the desperate play.
Trying to be the hero, but just couldn't do it.
Well, you can only be so much of a hero in a one-on-one against the Lissandra that has ult up and Zhonya's Hourglass when you're Victor.
Yeah.
Odds that you're going to be able to land that burst very low.
Oh, like you said, though, just a really great draft from Jin Air. They were able to transition that into taking the advantages that the draft gave them.
So no more Rise. I know you're a good Rise player, Cuvée, despite what people may think from watching that particular game. He is actually very dangerous on that champion, but
well, he just got
it was punished
ganked over and over and
Great
over
game
again.
plan from Jin Air, though. Very good execution.
Yeah, when you put that Rise down to 0-4-0, anyone's going to have a hard time coming back from that one.
And much better Gnar play from Trace that
Yeah.
game, too.
Very true. It's a really nice